Oh boy. I think we are already live, man. I've been live for 5 minutes and didn't even know it. That's crazy. Oh man. All right, guys. Give me just a moment. I didn't realize that we were already live. I hit the live button and didn't even realize it. So that's the fun part of going live. So you're going live with me. We're going to do this thing for real. Reach over to my guys. All right, what's happening? Yours truly. Okay, so we got our team members on board. Kate, what's happening?
Hello.
You will never believe what just happened.
What just happened?
I was on the call with someone else, totally unrelated, getting this show set up, and for somehow, some way, I hit the go live button. And so for like 5 minutes, I'm talking on the phone through my earphones, and I'm thinking that, I'm still backstage. But in actuality, I was live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Facebook, and didn't even know it.
I hope you were saying good things.
Right?
So, you have to rewind. What did I just say?
Right. So I was just ad-libbing right there, like to the ether. I'm like, oh boy, because it's the fun thing. That's the fun part of going live is you never know what can happen. So
yeah, well,
so thank you. Thank you for joining.
Real Xavier Smith now.
Right. So we're gonna do an official introduction. My name is Xavier Smith. That's Kate, and she's gonna say her last name herself because I don't want to butcher it.
Kate Mastinanti.
That's it.
Yep. That is it.
And you are live with Coach X right here, right now. And apparently you were live with me for like 5 minutes and I didn't even know it. So you are welcome for that side conversation show. All right. So let's get into this. If you are here and you are watching this, we're going to get into some of the team members of NuMee. Now, had this originally gone to my plan in my head, I will be giving you an official introduction right now, and I'll be getting you excited about NuMee helping you create a new you. And then we're going to talk with Kate because she's the only team member that's with us right now. But hopefully we'll have some more members join us. And if not, we are prepared to have fun with each other. How's that sound, Kate?
I can talk and talk and talk and talk
Right?
some more. So I can fill the void.
Nice. See, this is good. This is probably what was meant to happen then.
Yeah.
So we are talking about NuMee. NuMee is a revolutionary new company that's dedicated to helping people create the life they want to live. Emphasis on the word want. Whether you're looking to lose weight, get in shape, or simply improve your overall health, NuMee has a perfect solution for you. And Kate would be just one of the many solutions available to you. Okay, so let's talk about that, Kate. Now that I have you, let's talk about you personally and what you bring to the table when it comes to NuMee. Kate, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my official role with NuMee is the Chief Wellness Officer, and basically when we use the term wellness, and it's a word, but the term, we're looking at it as an overarching, complete wellness. So you can have proper nutrition, you can have proper physical fitness, you can have proper mental, emotional wellness, and mental health. But true wellness is having all three combined. And again, we can be very physically fit, but our nutrition, especially when we're younger, our nutrition might not be ideal.
Right.
We could be our nutrition might be on point, but I can't walk more than a mile or two, and my heart cardiovascular system isn't ideal. We could have our nutrition and our fitness on point, but our mental health and well-being is not where we want it to be. So the idea is under this umbrella of wellness is having these three pillars of health and really focusing on some people want to focus on them one at a time. Some people want it two at a time, all of them. But to be truly well, long term, I use the term longevity wellness. To age well, to age gracefully, we need all three. And so my role as the Chief Wellness Officer is to kind of pioneer for our group and to be the head of our wellness practitioners, our wellness philosophy, kind of making sure our board members are well, and just kind of keeping that wellness drum beat banging, really.
I love that. Beating the drum of what we want as far as wellness is concerned, yes, as opposed to beating the drum of something you don't want. We could have a whole nother sidebar conversation about that. But guess what? We got a visitor.
We do. Hey, Ryan. Oh, and Todd.
Oh, boom. We got bonus points.
Yay, team.
Todd. Todd showed up with a smile on his face, too. Oh, right? My goodness.
Yeah, the barely.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, so let's bring you into the fold, folks. What you're looking at, if you're watching this now, or you watch this later, the two gentlemen that just joined us, we have one being Ryan Small, the CEO, the visionary of why this whole thing is in front of you. And then we have Todd, who's like the right-hand man. I guess he's responsible for the social media side. So let's bring these guys in. And Todd, let's introduce you guys both. Who wants to go first?
So it may be a little bit loud where we're at because we're at a biker bar. But
having a business meeting.
You're having a business meeting at a biker bar.
Nice.
But my name is Todd, and I've been gone for a while because I've been a little bit sick. But I'm back, and I'm focused on what wellness really is for the everyday person and how they can correlate that into taking action steps. Because one of the things I learned most recently was a very valuable lesson. It's like, if you don't have, I can market to anyone and tell you or influence you on what wellness means to you. But as we saw with the slap, with Will Smith,
oh boy,
there's a lot of underlying things sometimes that you can be challenged with. And for anyone that, for instance, has read his book, I don't agree with the action, but I can see what's been driving him for a very long time. And no amount of money makes you well unless you're really committed to actually changing your mindset and really committed to focusing on becoming a better person. So I'm Todd.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you so much. Glad to see you too. All right, Ryan, your turn.
All right. So, yeah, Todd is actually a Steelers fan. So we met up today, and so that's why we're here. And I like bikes, and I can't ride mine right now, so I'm looking at everybody else's. It helps with my mindset.
Yeah.
But yeah. What did you have a specific question for me, or just are we?
Just wanted you to introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Ryan Small, the CEO of NuMee, and this whole NuMee journey, we all have one.
Yep.
And we're all at different spots in our journey. But yeah, our vision for this is going to help a lot of people, and I feel really good and confident about the things that we've got planned to do and how to help people wherever they are in their journey, kind of get their feet back under them and start taking some control of some of the areas in our lives. And I know for me personally, where I was at in a whole, if you look at all the problems going on, to me, it was just so overwhelming. I didn't even know where to start. Yeah. So I didn't. I didn't start. I just ignored it. And it finally caught up to me where it was unignorable. So anyway, all these things with Kate, people like Kate and, other practitioners that want to reach out to people to help them. They're all motivated. They love what they do. And they love seeing change in other people. So why not get them together for the people who need the help? And let's start seeing some change. Start making changes in our own lives and get better.
Yes. So true. So true. So true. And so that brings me back to you, Kate. Let's put the spotlight back on you and talk about a couple of things. A couple of questions that I have for you is one, and I'm going to send this around the table. Here's my power question. And this is a habit that I have no matter where I'm at. But Kate, tell me, what's been the best, and I mean absolute best part of your day today?
Oh, this was one of my favorite questions that I would ask my family whenever we attempted a family meal. Tell me, what's your favorite part of the day? I love it. So let's see. My favorite part of today actually was I was randomly, I was texting a friend and I was getting in my car, so I didn't want to text her anymore, right? So I threw her on the car phone and ended up having a really enlightening and engaging conversation. Actually, it was about the mental wellness of some people in society right now in general, and how you have a group of people who are constantly trying to disrupt and cause turmoil. And whereas maybe pre-COVID, people would have fallen victim to it. But now, as we've navigated ourselves through these crazy couple of years and really done a lot of soul searching, I think, as a society, and then everything that we watch play out, like on social media in different capacities, but then more poignantly to me, like what's happening in, globally and not just the Ukraine, but all over the world. Right. Ethiopia has its fair share of civil disruption, and you get to see it though live and in person because of social media. Yeah, I think people are really starting to keep themselves a little bit in check these days, and that overall society is starting to make a change towards wellness and mental well-being. And in order to be mentally well and then kind of self-assess. And so having those kind of conversations, I just love having those kind of conversations. So that was my best part of my day.
Nice.
And then, you know, falling into this conversation will be my second best.
There you go. All right. Well, next up is you guys, Todd and Ryan. What's been the best part of your day? And I'm assuming that it has something to do with where you guys are right now.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the best part of my day has been getting Ryan and taking him out of his comfort zone and bringing him to a place where life is basic and simple, but it still moves on, because I find that, you know, not only the scenery in Arizona, but different aspects of life, how people build things from the ground up. Like we're in Cave Creek, for anyone that has ever heard of Cave Creek, Arizona. And so the simplicity of how they are out here, but at the same time, they navigate, you know, through the nuances of the desert and the mountains and things like that, but somehow they make it work. And that's kind of the best part of my day, is to find a space. And usually I do this every day, is to find a space in Arizona that speaks to my spirit. So it gives me a different perspective. And I wanted particularly to bring Ryan out here because I know that it speaks to his perspective and give him a vantage point to see, you know, other people like himself that, you know, have the same desires, wants, needs. And, you know, Kate's right about one thing. It's like we've had this shift where there are some people who are definitely trying to redefine and find their wellness. And then there are some people who are just kind of wading in the water. And, you know, they're looking for opportunities to really find what that means. So for me, I like to get up wherever there's a mountain, wherever there's a cactus, wherever there's a new place to go, and take people there to kind of show them a new perspective. And that's been the best part of my day today with Ryan.
Nice. Love it, man. Love that. What about you, Ryan? What's been the best part of your day?
So the best part of my day so far has been Todd called me up and heard a few words out of my mouth. And I've been in a kind of a funk. You know, I'm laid up with this foot thing and laying around a lot. But I suffer from depression, like I've mentioned before. And of course, today just happens to be one of those really bad days. So the best part of today was Todd's like, get over here, let's meet up, let's go do something and get you out. So you know, you need people like that. And with Todd feeling better now that he's out of the hospital and stuff, I mean, it's helping me out. So
nice. I love that. Appreciate you, man. And I'm glad that Todd was there to do that for you. Because now I want to go back to Kate and let's talk a little bit about something. For me, for example, I got a gift, and it's part of my everyday response. But when you think about it, I, just like you guys, got another day to play. So it's going to be a great day, right? So for me, going back to what we just talked about, I boil this down to, because I used to live by default, where like Todd said, I was just kind of floating along the river of life with no purpose, no aim. That's living by default. Whereas now I'm living with intention. And I think that's what it boils down to for me. Like, am I going to live creatively, or I'm just kind of waiting for life to happen? Because I've lived both ends, and on this side I get better results. On the other side, I think life was more living me. You know what I mean? So Kate, let's talk a little bit about something. How do you, or what kind of tools, techniques, protocols do you know of that can help someone change their story?
Well, I think a key thing that you said is to live with intention and to have that basically very specific thought, like, well, I mean, everything you just said, right? So we're never guaranteed tomorrow. And, you know, it's funny because whenever I have a birthday, I get very excited, and people, I'll say how old I am, and people are like, oh my God, you said how old you are. And I'm like, what? I hope I am embracing my age, because if I don't age, then what's the alternative to that? Like, every day that I get is a bonus. And it's, and to number one, flip your thought process to looking at that, instead of like dreading getting up the next day and, oh my God, I have to do this all over again. It's like, no, man, like I get to do this all over again, because the alternative is not, and that's not good. So is really, and that's not something that I was born thinking. And you have to, you know, navigate through some things to get to that way of thinking. But I think it really is embracing an intention, and saying, you know what, I'm not going to live like this anymore. This is not worth it anymore. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to struggle. I want now to take steps that move me forward to no longer feel that. I love to use my mom as an example. My mom at the age of 78 was diagnosed celiac, right? So that's when you're not supposed to have gluten, wheat, things of that nature. And she's very upset about this. And she was like, I don't understand why suddenly at 78, I'm celiac. And I was like, well, you're not suddenly celiac. You've been celiac. You've been not well. You got tested and they determined you are celiac. I said, but you got tested for a reason, right? You had all these symptoms. So she was definitely, she was like, no. It doesn't bother me. Well, after the third, or one of the reasons why we had her tested was she was having an adverse reaction to food in general. And so after the third or fourth bout of getting very ill, she finally had to say out loud that her youngest child was right. And that bothered her. And then she actually had to say the words, I'm done with that. So she really had to get to a point where she's done feeling so terrible before she was willing to make the change of removing gluten completely from her diet, right? And so I think now she very intentionally, when she went to the grocery store, made sure that the foods that she bought, she read the ingredients. She made sure there was no trace of wheat. There was no trace of, gluten. But it had to be an intentional thing. She had to actually embrace the fact that this is going to be her life. And instead of dreading it, being like, oh, I can't believe I have to do this, embracing what's out there. And I think that you kind of have to get to a point where you're done with feeling like this. I don't want to feel X anymore. I want to feel Y. Yeah. And it is intention. You have to commit to it. It's hard, but once you get it, it becomes your default though, right? Like I don't eat, we have this kind of, I'll say it's a running joke with our little group, but I don't eat donuts. I won't eat them. I can't stand them. I don't want any part of donuts, right? I don't miss donuts. I haven't had a donut in 20 years. Like, I don't miss them. Like, it's who I am. I don't eat a donut. Like, it's not enjoyable to me to have one. So therefore, it becomes your default. Your default is no, thank you.
Yeah, right.
And then you go about your business.
So let me ask you this then, and this goes to you guys too. Like, are you telling me, Kate, that it boils down to someone being responsible for their own life?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. I just had a client leave my house today. And over the course of the conversation was, 100% you cannot control what happens to you. Can't control it. If I get in my car and I drive up the road, I cannot control what's driving at me. I can't control what jumps in front of me. I can control what I do, and I can only control what I do. And especially we happen to be talking about food and water. I was trying to tell her how much she had to drink. But literally the only thing I can control is what I am doing and performing to myself. Otherwise, nothing else. So when it comes to my health and wellness and what I surround myself with and what I absorb emotionally, mentally, what I eat, what I drink, only I can control that. No one else can control that, unless obviously there's a bizarre scenario going on, but only I can control what I consume.
Yeah, right.
So,
there you go.
You have to take responsibility for yourself.
All right, so guys, how do you feel about what you just heard? Like, what do you feel about personal responsibility?
You're muted.
Got to take, let me unmute you.
I was going to say he keeps muting himself.
There you go.
So what do I like about personal responsibility?
Yep.
I don't like it.
Okay, you're being truthful. So thank you for that.
It's scary, because one of my fears is failure, and personal responsibility is some, personal accountability. And you got to be able to be strong enough within yourself to not eat a donut, Kate. Some people like donuts, Kate. No. So yeah, it's a learning curve. And when you have defaults and you've got your filters in place and you do certain things, and Pavlov's bell, we all create our own bells and our own problems, but nobody wants to take accountability for them, and that doesn't make anyone feel good. Unless you could stay away from a donut for 20 years, then you feel empowered, right? So you got to teach yourself, as hard as it's going to be, you got to be able to say, no, I don't do this because, and for my case, Kate likes to use her mom, but I use myself because it's the only experience I've got. But with my case, I know what I did and I know how I lived, and I wasn't happy with it. So now I've got to do the things that are going to help me to get where I want to be, where I want to live. And it's a journey. It's not easy. It's scary. It's vulnerable. It's tough, especially when you've got those bad days, I'll tell you what, this morning a donut sounded really comfortable to me, so
right.
It was good that Todd pulled me away from that. But it's personal responsibility, personal accountability. It's part of the game to get where you want to be. It's the cycle, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Here's Todd. Hold on.
Before you go, I do want to jump in and say, so there's two things to part of that process. Is number one, it's key that Todd reached out when he did, which means we have a sense of community. So you need community, you need support, and you need connection. And I think that's one of the things that we're looking to build with NuMee. But also the other piece is you have to do it with grace. You have to give yourself grace and say, you know what? Maybe if Todd hadn't reached out this morning, Ryan might have had a donut. That's not the end of the world, right? You have to give yourself a little bit of grace and say, I'm a work in progress. And it's going to take me and not beat ourselves up. But when you have a friend like Todd and you have a connection and you have a community that can help navigate with you, then that's bonus. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So, real quick, I'm butting in here. So the truth of the matter is it wouldn't have been only one donut. I'm just being honest.
Right? Perfect. Okay, that's good.
I love honesty.
So So to me, personal accountability, personal responsibility follows into, how you either allow your habits to drive you or
Mhm.
you to drive your habits.
Bingo.
Because as a person who has been an emotional eater in the past, my, I used to be the type of person when I had a day like Ryan where it's like, okay, I'm gonna get this Pepsi, I'm gonna get these donuts, I'm gonna get this burger, and I'm gonna go to town. And I realized you have these kind of micro triggers that happen, right? So to me, just for me personally, every time I had those moments, that's when I started drinking water because I try to change the metric in my mind said that water was punishing myself. It was actually empowering me
Mhm.
by me saying, okay, I'm not having a great day, but I'm still not going to hurt myself more intentionally. And I think it goes back to the essence of, are your habits driving you or are you driving your habits? Because we all have habits or certain things that make us. So for me, getting up in the morning, getting away from everything and just kind of getting a clear head helps me to kind of channel when someone else is maybe going through something. So I could identify through my own habit when he was out of space. And instead of me saying, okay, I'm going to let you go through it, I'm going to pull you away from it to give you perspective. So then he doesn't feel like he's alone. And I think the power of NuMee and what we're trying to build is that community perspective where I didn't want to pull him away and do something that I wanted to do. I wanted to take him to a place where I know he could relate to. And a lot of times that's what people need. Like for me, I come from a family that eats really bad.
Mhm.
They solve their problems by eating. So I had to change that habit in myself first, which was my personal accountability way of doing it. But then I start trying to affect that in other people too. So like, a key ingredient is like for a lot of friends is like, oh, take your friend out to the bar. No, take your friend to a gym, take your friend for a walk, go for a hike, go biking, do something that's positive, reinforcing, so it gives them a better perspective. So I wanted to give him a better perspective, but at the same time, I'm making myself personally accountable to make sure that he's getting better framework because I have to have better framework for myself. But it would not occur had I not started the day for myself in the same manner. Like I got up, I'm by an air park, go for a walk, get in the scenery, clear my head, process a lot of things that are not necessarily in my favor. Don't let the negative become the narrative.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's awesome.
You don't, whatever negative is happening. I'm only a few days removed from the hospital. That doesn't mean anything. That shouldn't be my narrative. So a lot of times what happens is you let the negative become the narrative. And so that then becomes your perspective. Your perspective is negative. Whereas if your narrative is to be positive in all aspects, okay, I just got out of the hospital, but the hospital is not where I'm going. It's where I came from. The medication or prescriptions or whatever my doctor's provided for me is only the temporary place I'm at, but I'm going to work myself better from that. So just that perspective, you cannot let that narrative take over you. And a lot of people start with that narrative. They wake up with it. They wake up, check their phone, check their email, get a phone call. I get phone calls from my mother. So I know when it's my mother calling, I hang up the phone. Let go to voicemail, and I talk to her later. Because she's like a lot of people. She watches the news.
Yeah.
Like, guess what happened? And I'm like, nope, I don't. That's a narrative. That's a narrative you don't have to accept. So personal accountability to me is saying, okay, how can I change, make sure the narrative is navigate it correctly before someone else changes the narrative for me. Because the next person may be just negative, so they're bringing you down to their level versus bringing you up. And this is how I've learned through, a couple heart attacks, how not to become like the doctor said it best to me in hospital. I told him about my family history, disease, and stuff like that. He said, you don't have to be them. You're at a standpoint where you can change your narrative. You're at that point, but it depends upon your mindset. And I realized that, oh, well, I could become my older brother, or I could become, my uncles or my dad, or, whatever, or I could just become the narrative that I choose for myself. So I choose to challenge myself every day, even though, I may not be successful. The challenge in itself is just an acknowledgement of personal responsibility. So for a lot of people that say they can't go to the gym or they can't do this, the gym doesn't have to be you. The gym could be right outside.
Mm-hmm.
It could be walking up the street. The gym could be, hey, drink your water. Make sure you get the right amount of ounces in, no matter what, no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
So I think personal accountability starts with how do you choose your habits? Do you choose your habits, or do your habits choose you?
That's huge right there, man. Thank you so much for dropping that golden nugget of good energy, because everything you said was right. Like, you have to make that choice, and there's so much power in just making the decision, right? So, Kate, let's talk about that. Like, the power of choice. Where do you stand on the power of choice? Like, how do you process that sentence? There's so much power in your choice.
I think it goes back to kind of what Ryan was saying, is it's scary. It's scary sometimes, because when you make the choice, then you own it. Like, you break it, you buy it, right? You've made the choice to do something, and it falls 100% on you. So, it is a powerful thing. And then the fear is, what if I'm making the wrong choice? And then you want someone to make that choice for you. And I think that's where having a practitioner or having a coach work with you, especially when we're going through, if we cycle it back to NuMee and, what we're going to offer. If you have someone working with you, the default is, and with all my clients, the default is, tell me what to do. I'm meeting with you. Tell me what to eat. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to work out. You tell me what I need to do. It's like, it needs to come from within. You need to, you already know most of the answers. And there are some things, obviously, like if I've never worked out before, like, here are exercises to do, but then you have to make the choice to actually do the exercises. And the same thing with food. Like, a lot of people don't know which what is protein, what is carb, what is healthy fat versus not healthy fat, or things of that nature. You want to give that information, but then when it comes down to actually making the choice to use the information, you want someone to just tell me what to do. I'm like, well, it needs to come from within, and it's scary. It's super scary. And if you hire somebody or you work with somebody, you want them to make the choice for you. And at the end of the day, there's no such thing. I can't choose for you to be healthy. You have to choose it for yourself.
That's a great point. And so it brings me right to this question. Like, what separates what's happening in NuMee? What makes us different than, say, some other stuff that's out there floating around?
Ryan, you want to take it?
Yes, ma'am. So, going back to what you were talking about and into this next section. For me, I gotta say this. So being lazy is easy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
playing a victim is easy.
Yes.
And I, for at least 18 to 20 years that I'm willing to admit right now, I played the victim. I took the easy way out. So that was my default.
Mm.
So anyway, so now what NuMee does is it builds your mind and your strength within yourself so that you take the accountability as much as you don't want to take it. You need to be able to get to a point where you accept your fault in where you are. So once you're strengthened and you understand your part and where you're at and who you are, now you've got a foundation that you can build on. And so
Nice.
that's where the turning point of your journey begins. So
Beautiful.
the stuff that you talk about, and Kate, and what Todd just got done talking about, it all starts at that point because you're on default. But then when you realize what you need to do to come out of default, that's where the work begins.
Yeah.
And NuMee wants to help you with that work because it's not easy. I've been at this for over a year now, and I still can't even talk about it, you know?
Right.
So it's tough. It's raw, you know. Everyone has that point where they just got to face the beast because you're tired of running from it. Like Kate was saying, you just get to a point where you're just sick of being sick. And the only way to get well is to just turn and face it, start dealing with the stuff. And we here at NuMee, we understand the stuff. We've been through it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we know how important it is to rise above it. And we want to be there every step of the way. And we want to help. We want to help through the struggle. So anyway, I'll pass it to Todd.
I think the key ingredient to NuMee is defining wellness for people where they're at versus trying to get them to go somewhere to program them to think that they'll become well. So where wellness may be, we're not, unfortunately, a lot of what's compared to us are focused on certain age groups or certain lifestyles versus focus on people. And I think that's the crux of what it is that we're focusing on people. So what may be well for me may not be for Ryan, but because we're a community, that our goal of becoming well together connects us. So our food may be different, our intake may be different. And that's the thing, like even in my own relationship, it's like she hates water, I love water. And there's days where I'm like, oh, my throat's dry. I can't believe this. And I look over her like, oh, you did it again. You kept me from drinking water. She's like, I hate water.
Oh, boy.
But we go to the grocery store together. We shop on a lot of things. It's just what bonds us is we both want to be the best version of ourselves. And that, to me, is what NuMee does for people in their community. It's helping you become the best version of yourself and having someone right next to you also helping you do that alongside your avatar that's encouraging you, alongside your practitioner that's keeping you focused. And that kind of total focus is something that's lost. Like if you think about it, when people go to like a spin class, because it just to me is like a good metaphor. Everybody goes to spin class, but how many people talk when the spin class is done?
Mm.
You know, there might be a few that talk to the trainer and they're cool and everything, but most people just walk in and walk out. So you don't have no clue what they're going through once they leave that spin class.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend who was a former football player, and then he became a personal trainer after his career in football, and he was a football coach. And this is no lie. Him and his girlfriend were personal trainers together. He died during a session. He had a heart attack during a training session.
Wow.
And it had and the whole thing about it that was just threw us off was it had nothing to do with the fact that, you know, he's a personal trainer and, you know, he had a football career and everything else. It had everything to do with his habits. He still liked eating certain food and he still liked drinking alcohol. So in reality, he had effects on his heart that not even training could do anything about. And the difference is, for me, how I see NuMee is we won't let that happen. We won't let you drift so far that nobody notices that it just goes underneath the radar. We hold you accountable because we're accountable to you becoming better, you know, and not like a lot of people who become bitter. They become bitter because they don't necessarily have what they're supposed to have in life. I mean, I know enough about my friend to know that he wanted his football career, but he transitioned into personal training. But that shouldn't have changed. That his habits should have changed as he got older, because we all get older. We all have to, you know, we all have to act better. And so this is where I think NuMee steps in, where we identify, you know, potential triggers, potential challenges. We partner with you. We help mentor, and we give you outlets. A lot of people will wake up today and they don't have that. They'll wake up today and, you know, they might push their snooze button and don't go to the gym, or they might have an appointment with someone like Kate and miss their appointment, you know, and we don't allow those things to keep that being a barrier. And that's why we always talk about we meet you where you're at. So today I met Ryan where he was at. He was vulnerable. He was not in a good space. So it was time for me to help him go someplace where we could get him into a good space.
Boom. That's beautiful, man. That, I think, is the epitome of what NuMee is all about. Am I right, Kate?
Absolutely. And the component, and Todd was kind of, you know, circling around it very nicely, is that it's not just this person that he was referring to is, I'm sure, very physically fit, but obviously there were other components of his life that was not well. And so I think where we have what kind of differentiates us from others is you have some that will focus on one of the pillars as that we started off when it was just me and you. You can have your nutrition on point, or you can have your fitness on point, or you can have your emotional well-being on point. But unless you have all three of them lined up and balanced, then the whole wellness spectrum is not balanced. So what we're looking to do is incorporate all of those three, but also making it fun and exciting. And you know, Todd made reference to the avatar. So in case people aren't familiar with what we're moving towards, is it's a gamified app with an avatar, and so you're taking care of you, but you're taking care of like a virtual you at the same time. So it's like you're kind of like you're disembodied taking care of you, and to be honest, that's what most of us do. Most of us are caretakers of others, and we put others first, and when self comes last.
Yeah.
And that just, we have to take care of self, and in order, and that is the emotional wellness component, right? And so when with NuMee and the app and the avatar, we're taking care of self simultaneously to taking care of this other entity that's on our screen. So
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to make this as easy as possible for people to get on board. That's why I left the little moniker at the bottom of the screen up, because here right now is your opportunity to see the vision, feel the vision with us, and you just got firsthand experience as to how it works with Todd and Ryan, with the conversations that Kate and I were having. And here's the bottom line, folks. In this day and age, this is something that's needed. Point blank, period, full stop. We need this. And there is enough, and I'm sure everybody on this panel would agree with me. We've got enough negativity to deal with for a few lifetimes. So why not come to the table with solutions like this? Any last words? We're coming up on an hour. Any last parting words that you guys want to express as far as like why people should be involved?
Well, I just encourage everybody that's interested in this, that could see the benefit, to jump aboard and help us to get this movement going. And there's like you said, there's enough negative energy out there. Let's be the opposite of that, and let's help each other vibrate at a different frequency. So
vibrate. That's it.
You will find a lot of things that will tickle your ear or entrance your eye or entangle your mind via social media. But you want to gravitate towards something that will change your life. And NuMee is focused on doing that, changing your life and helping you define you, because you define you. And how well you can be is how well you want to achieve if you believe in you. So take that to the bank. There's a lot of things that'll sell you. We're not selling you. We're trying to help you be well.
Boom. There you go. What about you, Kate? You got any last words?
Yeah, the last thing that I'll say is I love that there's one of my favorite phrases is water seeks its own level. So if those people out there who are listening and watching and observing and can relate to anything that we're all saying, you're who we want to be part of NuMee. And invest in us at the ground level, and be an early adopter. And there are perks that come with that and getting in on it. But water seeks its own level, and we're here kind of, like I think Ryan said or Todd said, raise your vibration. Like that's who we want. Like come and we want you. So if anything that we're saying resonates with you, you're part of our community. We want you in our community. And people who, even if it's a small investment, you become an early adopter, be part of our pilot group, help us help everybody else. But really, that's at the end of the day, if anything that we're saying resonates with you, you're part of our clan, and we want to connect. So
boom, there you go, folks. That's it, man. That's all we got. If you resonate with it, you will do what your heart tells you to do, and we will be on the other side waiting for you. I'm glad to be a part of this in the small way, shape, or form, and I see nothing but good things coming from this day forward. So you guys stay right there. I'm going to sign off. Hey, folks, this is your time. Make something good happen within yourself, and then let's go out and help the world at a much higher level. I'm Xavier Smith. That's my time. I'll see you on the other side.